Hello, welcome back to Al Talks. This podcast I started 3 years ago to chronicle me starting stand up. This podcast is a weekly podcast. It comes out once a week, and this is just a small little introduction video into the podcast. So, down below in the description of each episode, you can go to my Linktree and find links to everything connected to me. This podcast is available on YouTube, which you're watching it on right now, and also on Spotify. But yeah, that is just a small introduction into this podcast and everything that goes along with it. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. It is quite dark, so I don't know if I should turn the light down or not, but I don't know, it might look weird. But anyway, so welcome back to the podcast. Actually, I'll tweak the light a little bit. Okay, I think that light is a little bit better. So, this week's podcast episode is about Michelle Wolf's new stand-up special called The Well. I've talked about a lot of stand-up specials in the last while. Ones that I've watched, there've been a couple that I really enjoyed, and then there's been a few that have been strange, I suppose. Probably the strangest stand-up special is probably Jamie Foxx's one, because that, if you watch my episode on it, or if you watched it yourself, I don't know if it was his stand-up special was basically like a one-man show essentially, because it combined like music, speeches, and I don't know. It was very, very strange. Definitely unique, but a bit strange. So yeah. So Michelle Wolf is a comic I've been following for quite a long time. Actually, she actually performed at one of the clubs that I did before up in Dublin, Stitches, a little while back. The computer again is not happy. Oh, computer. But anyway, so yeah, it's somebody that I've been following for quite a long time, and Michelle Wolf is from the Americas, from the US, but she moved over to Spain. I think she lives in no, not Spain, Portugal. I think she's Portugal. I think she's Barcelona. I'm not over the shore. Let me check. Yeah, she lives in Barcelona, which is in Spain. España. But yeah, so she moved there a couple of years ago, and she is actually a friend of the podcast, Bill Connery, who used to run Giggles back in the day. He is also living in Barcelona, and last time he came over back to Dublin, we were talking. He's like, I see Michelle Wolf perform at the comedy clubhouse over there all the time. So yeah, pretty cool. But yeah, so her stand-up special is basically about her becoming a mom. I think she had a kid, maybe a year and a bit ago or something. Well, I don't know what that pop-up was, but yeah, so she had a child, and this special is essentially about her, becoming a mother and raising her child and stuff that she's basically learned, and being a first-time mom and whatnot. And like I said, in terms of other specials that I've watched, it was there's been like there was so many jokes that were so cleverly written, and it's because like I'll mention it a bit, kind of talk about more in the next episode, in next week's episode. But it's when like before, when I used to watch stand up, it was always about like as a consumer, you just look for the funny, whereas now you kind of start to dissect bits and whatnot, and because like obviously I write jokes myself now, and it's like watching stand up now is interesting in the sense that when a comedian does like approaches the topic in a different way, you're like, oh, okay, so you can do it like that, or you can do it like this, which is why I kind of try and like watch comedy from all different perspectives. You know, people from different parts of the world and stuff like that, and you know, it was just like I said, it was a lot of very very clever written jokes, and it was just hilarious. And while I was watching the special, yeah, I think it was Stavi's World, because on Stavi's World, Dan Soder was on Stavros' podcast, and he, like, Dan Soder and Stavros both live in Astoria in New York, which is on the, I think, on the east side. There's a lot of like Ukrainian immigrants over there and Greek immigrants living in Astoria. There's actually like, I think, a Greek town and Ukrainian town over there as well. And yeah, so they were so they were just talking a bit, basically like their last not the last podcast, but the last podcast like before he moved out of Astoria. And they mentioned Michelle Wolf. She's like, imagine if Michelle Wolf was like a voice, because Dan Soder is very good at doing impression. He does like a really good one, good Macho Man Randy Savage, who, if you don't know, is an old wrestler. I don't think he's alive anymore, so R.I.P. to Macho Man Randy Savage. And he has this like deep growly voice, kind of like Don Fry. Also, if you don't know Don Fry was a UFC fighter in the very early days of the UFC, who just like people have said in comments, which I found, that when Don Fry speaks, his voice is like a Ford F 450, which is like a big massive truck. It's a big growly voice and stuff. So, but yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, so he was like, imagine if Michelle Wolf was on in like GTA, like if they used her voice in one of the characters in GTA. I don't know, just he did like a really funny impression. So when I was watching the special, that I instantly got like that memory back. It was very very funny. I really enjoyed that a little bit. But yeah, Michelle, yeah, that special is on Netflix. If you want to check it out, please do. I'm saying as though I know her personally, but she's, like I said, I've been following Michelle Wolf for a very long time. She's a hilarious comedian. This special just proves it. Really, really enjoyed it. It was super fun. Okay. In terms of, what was I gonna say? Yeah. So still no, not doing stand up for another little while. Probably. To be honest, at this stage, I have no idea how long. Well, I'm working on my project, which is not going well either. So, but we strive and endeavor, I suppose. Any other thing to mention? Essentially, not really. There is, yeah, there's stuff in the works for possibly another Russian language show, which you'll have to see in a couple of months' time how kind of things pan out and whatnot. Um, we'll try to recover from last time's defeat, but yeah, so I'm gonna end the episode there. As per usual, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. All the links down below to all the good stuff, my good stuff and my friends' good stuff. Please do check them out. And I shall see you next week. Bye bye.